The Walten Files is a YouTube horror series presented as VHS found footage style videos. The series is heavily inspired by Five Nights at Freddy's, but tells its own story and tells it in an arguably better way than FNAF does, giving actual full dates to events that happen, allowing for a much easier timeline to understand. There are currently 3 canon installments in the series, with a 4th one on the way. So, before it arrives, I want to make a theory about one of the biggest mysteries that's been lingering in the series since episode 1. What happened to Jack Walten, and who did he become? Jack Walten is one of the founders of the Bonnie Smells Company, alongside his college friend Felix Kranken. They founded the company in 1965 and established the Bonn's Burgers restaurant in 1974. Jack was married to Rosemary Walten and was the father of 3 children, Ed, Molly, and Sophie, the latter being the main character of the series. From a conversation Sophie had with her girlfriend Jenny, we learned Jack was a hard-working man who had a deep voice, a man who loved his family but had a known temper problem. On May 2nd, 1974, a tragedy would befall the Walten family. After trusting Felix with picking up Ed and Molly at a school party, he wouldn't find them home for hours, or ever again. This is because Felix currently had a drinking problem, and drove the 2 children home while under the influence and crashed the car, killing them both while Felix survived and buried their bodies in St. Juana's forest out of fear. Jack would attempt to call Felix several times with no response. Jack would then go missing on June 11th, 1974, just 11 days before Bonn's Burgers would open to the public. Bonn is the main antagonist of the series and is the main mascot of Bonn's Burgers. He is an animatronic rabbit created in partnership with the company Cyberfun Tech. Shortly after Jack's disappearance, Bonn would begin behaving strangely. After Bonn's Burgers' first birthday party, Susan Widdings, an employee who helped build the animatronics, checked on Bonn to repair him, only for Bonn to suddenly lash out and violently kill Susan, before placing her body in the Banny animatronic. Susan's spirit would then possess the Banny animatronic. All victims following Susan were killed by Bonn and placed into animatronic suits. In episode 2, we hear Billy the Clown list off names from an audio tape: Jack, Susan, Charles, Rosemary, and Sophie. Excluding Sophie, these are all names of Bonn's victims, and the names are listed almost like a hit list. It's a possibility that Felix had Bonn kill these people intentionally, so no one would know the truth of his car accident which killed Ed and Molly. After the death of Rosemary, Bonn's Burgers was shut down less than a month after opening on July 20th, 1974. All the animatronics were taken to the K9 storage facility in St. Juana's forest. At this point, Bonn seems dead set on finding Sophie, killing Brian Stells after thinking he was Sophie. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that Jack became Bonn after his disappearance. Bonn only began acting violently after Jack had disappeared. Jack was also one of the names on the hit list spoken by Billy. His name was alongside other victims who were all killed and put into suits, so it's likely that Jack befell a similar fate. Jack went missing a month after his children were accidentally killed by Felix. It's a possibility Felix killed Jack out of fear and then hid his body inside Bonn. Not wanting to face consequences, Felix used Bonn to silence anyone who could expose his crimes. We know Jack had a temper problem, which could explain Bonn's extremely violent nature, though I will elaborate more on this point later. Bonn also had a strong desire to find Sophie, the last surviving Walten. It seems Bonn wants to kill her, maybe in some twisted desire to have his whole family back, as Jack, Rosemary, Ed and Molly are all animatronics, with Sophie being the only one spared of such a fate. While this character is non-canon, the Pumpkin Rabbit is a Halloween variation of Bonn and is voiced by Martin Walls, the creator of the series, and voice of Jack Walten.
Oh, little children, we have plenty of candy for you. Sorry about that. We like taking pictures of our guests every year. That way we'll never forget them. Go take a look, little children. Felix, pick up the phone. Now, I need you to pick up the phone. It's been 3 hours since I told you to get Ed and Molly home. What happened to my children? If anything happened to us, you must tell me. You haven't told me in 3 hours. I need to know what's going on. I'm trying to call you all night. What the hell is wrong with you?
The Jack is Bonn theory is probably the most popular theory relating to Jack, so this theory isn't anything new. However, I have another theory connecting to this one that I think makes it more interesting. Showbear is one of the most enigmatic characters in the series, with his most notable appearance being in episode 3, Bonnie Farm. Bonnie Farm is an arcade game that is played by Sophie, who seems to have forgotten her entire past, but begins to remember as she plays the game. She encounters the victims in the game, implying their spirits have possessed it. She later encounters Showbear, who seems to be a more or less friendly force in the game, wanting to help Sophie recover her memories. Showbear seems to have an unworldly presence in the game, which leads me to believe he's also a spirit, considering he knows Sophie is playing the game and is able to present her past to her. It's my belief that not only did Jack become Bonn, but that he also became Showbear. I think his spirit split in two, the soft-spoken father and the short-tempered man drowning in sadness after losing his children. Showbear has a distorted face, painted in a crooked smile. We've seen Jack depicted in a similar way several times before. The two look alike in this sense. Their voices are similar, though Showbear's is distorted.
Come one and come all, welcome to my magic fountain of memories. Step right up and enter your most repressed experiences and get ready to be amazed by my magic.
Showbear's colour scheme is also the opposite of Bonn's, being white and blue instead of blue and white, possibly showing their opposite nature. They both have the same goal of reaching Sophie, but with very different motives in mind, possibly as a result of being manifested by different emotions respectively. Showbear also knows what happened to Ed and Molly. This doesn't really support the theory, as we don't know if Jack actually found out what happened to his children, but it is likely he did. It's my belief that after Jack went missing, he was killed and his spirit split into two. His good side and his bad side became two different entities, both wanting to connect with their daughter again, but with very different motives. Like I said, we are still only 3 episodes into the Walten Files so far, and there's apparently supposed to be 6 episodes. We may not find out who Jack is until the very end of the season. Until then, I hope I've been able to shed some new light on a pretty common theory, and I hope some of you find it to be a satisfying answer to the longest mystery of the series. Hi, thank you for making it to the end of this video. This is my first video in a while and is very different from my usual content. I felt like I needed to branch out and do something different other than Dragon Ball videos, which I enjoy to make, don't get me wrong, but I hope you enjoyed this one as well. If you're a fan of the Walten Files, please let me know your own theories in the comments below. I also want to take this time to promote my art account. On both Instagram and Twitter, I have an account where I post my artwork, some are even Walten Files related. If you could check it out, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks again, and I'll see you later.